Most of the videos about why Dani left YouTube have missed the biggest reasons for his disappearance. The reason for this is that most of them aren't programmers and more so just chronicle YouTube history. They're missing major points on why Dani and pretty much every other game dev channel quits or goes years without uploading. So since I'm a programmer and have watched Dani for 5 years since early 2019, I will actually explain why he left YouTube instead of just solely reading Discord messages like the other videos. This is not to say that the other guys who made videos on why he left are bad, but more so that they didn't see his channel grow from a few thousand subscribers to millions like I did. But to understand why he left, we first have to understand why he started. Dani started uploading in late 2018 under the YouTube name DWS Games. The focus of his channel was his development of a stickman physics game called Off the Sticks. At the time, he was studying computer science in university and was also working a part-time job at a grocery store. Despite the little free time he had, he still managed to consistently upload almost every week with the exception of Christmas. He saw little success for the first few months, but he still spent all of his free time programming his game and editing devlogs. He then made a Discord server and was incredibly active with his community, welcoming everyone that joined. His audience at the time was mostly other game developers, and he enjoyed helping them with other problems. This showed his love for programming and game dev that would unfortunately slowly deteriorate. In his 6th video, he uploaded his 6-month progression of learning Unity, which went viral and drastically increased his audience. Dani continued to experiment and soon face revealed while launching his Patreon in hopes of gaining enough support to quit his job at the grocery store. Eventually, in late May of 2019, he quit his job at the grocery store and finished his studies for the year. He went full-time with YouTube, putting his all into it, working 10 to 14 hours a day, of which he sustained for multiple years. His passion became his job and the pressure slowly started to mount. Despite this, he still found it quite fun and experimented frequently, learning along the way. However, as he started to improve at programming, the scopes of his games also increased. He went from releasing games that only comprised of simple geometry with funky mechanics, to 2D games with sprites and animations, to 3D multiplayer FPS games, to remaking entire games and shows in each video with twist to them. His rapid progression also inspired me to start programming. However, his success consumed other aspects of his life. So now that we know his history, what are the possible reasons as to why he stopped uploading and will he return? The first and most obvious reason is pressure. He went from making simple Square games to games that were downloaded by dozens of millions of people. Even Carlson, a game that hasn't received any updates in 3.5 years, is still in the top 25 most wishlisted games on Steam. So all the pressure and expectations makes programming the games very stressful, which when you're working 10 to 14 hours a day like Dani, makes it extremely hard to finish. Dani could easily make a ton of devlogs for his current project, but he chooses not to due to all the external pressure on him. He feels like he has to make the next big thing with every single video he puts out, when in reality he should just be doing it for himself. The major thing that the other videos missed is scope. I haven't heard anybody else really discuss scope when it's clearly the leading cause in Dani's lack of uploading. In 2019, Dani uploaded 40 videos. If you watched attentively, you will know that when Dani makes an original game with no real time pressure, it takes around 10 times longer to finish. Most of the games he made starting out were simple games such as making a game in 48 hours, 12 hours, 1 hour, 30 minutes, etc. Or other games / simulations with extremely small scopes, such as making a game about planting trees, or making his own version of Beat Saber on his own VR headset, or getting ideas from his followers on Twitter. All these projects had limited scope and due to the time limits that he put on himself would prevent him from searching for perfection. After all, even Milkman Carlson only took 12 days from its inception to finish the game and edit the video for it. Even later on, when he would remake popular games and shows such as Fall Guys, Among Us, and Squid Game, he would set insane time limits on himself to ensure that he would upload without losing the trend.
So I guess I'm making Squid Game. The game. But we have a problem. This stupid trend is dying faster than my will to live, so we have to finish this game quickly. So let's make an entire multiplayer game with proximity chat, 9 game modes, and 30 maps in 2 weeks. Haha!
These time limits prevented Dani from endlessly trying to perfect and polish his games. After all, polishing and trying to perfect your game will end up taking most of your time, which is known as the 90-90 rule. The first 90% of a code accounts for the first 90% of the development time. The remaining 10% of a code accounts for the other 90% of the development time. However, this still does not explain how he developed his older projects so quickly, so I theorized that Dani likely has a sleep disorder. In his Discord, I searched for the term sleep, and found that he has stated that he has insomnia and sleep paralysis. His insomnia likely helps him in the short term, spending 27 hours straight working, but hinders him in the long term as it affects both his physical and mental health. In summary, Dani hasn't uploaded in 2 years for 3 main reasons. The first reason is scope creep. It is very obvious that he did not intend for this project to take over 2 years. The second reason is pressure. It's endlessly compounding and takes away from the fun of programming. The final reason is that he's focusing on his health, so don't rush him as he will return when he's ready. Thank you for watching and have a great rest of your day.